Yeah, he is on suicide watch. This guy thought he would have went home. All of a sudden, he didn't get bond. Remember, the first night that he was there, he was like an overnight guest. When they killed his bond hearing, now they checked him into the system, and reality has hit him. And I understand that he has a shrink coming by his cell to see him several times a day.
The fall of Sean Diddy Combs is one of the wildest downfalls hip-hop has ever seen. The same man who once ruled the game with platinum records, billion-dollar brands, and an empire of luxury is now locked behind cold steel bars, watching his kingdom crumble. Inside the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, Diddy's reality has flipped upside down. His lawyer says his health, his peace, and even his sanity are slipping fast. The public can't believe it. A man who used to fly private jets, own mansions in every city, and party with presidents is now begging a judge just to see daylight again. His sentencing is set for October 3rd, 2025, and the word is he's got no way out. The judge denied his appeal for a new trial, so his conviction stands strong. The once untouchable mogul has nowhere left to run. To understand how deep this fall is, you gotta go back to where it all began.
Steve, for the first time in his life, Sean Diddy Combs has spent a week behind bars. He's here inside MDC, where he's been since his arrest on Monday night on federal sex trafficking and other charges, to all of which he's pleaded not guilty. There's no VIP section. There is no concierge, only conmen, killers, and kingpins. MDC is so bad, federal judges have questioned the harsh conditions for those here awaiting trial. So bad, I was here 2 years ago during a cold spell, reporting on detainees with no heat, pounding on windows for help. There was even a congressional inquiry. But take the word of a former inmate I spoke with who goes by Esco.
It's terrible. The food is terrible. Of course, the inmates are terrible. The guards are terrible. The conditions are terrible.
Diddy was born in Harlem in 1969, straight into the struggle. His father was killed when he was only 2 years old, leaving his mom to raise him alone in one of New York's toughest neighborhoods. But even as a kid, Diddy dreamed big. He wasn't built to stay broke or small. He wanted the world. His grind took him from college halls to record label offices, and before long, he became an intern who refused to quit.
$18 million. It's instructive that he's going to have a bail package ready so that if he was arrested, he would have something ready so that he could get out the next day.
In 1993, he made his biggest move yet, launching Bad Boy Records, the label that would change hip-hop forever. With artists like the notorious Big, Mace, and Faith Evans, Diddy became a hit-making machine. Every track he touched turned to gold. He produced anthems that defined the 90s, like I'll Be Missing You, which broke records and won hearts around the world. But Diddy wasn't just about the music. He turned his hustle into a full-blown business empire. From his clothing brand, Sean John, to deals in TV, liquor, and fashion, the man built a legacy worth nearly $800 million. For years, he was hip-hop royalty, a symbol of success, power, and style. His parties were legendary, his circle full of stars, and his influence stretched from Wall Street to Hollywood. But success always comes with shadows. Even at the top, Diddy couldn't escape controversy. Lawsuits followed him like ghosts, some about business, others about his personal life. There were whispers about violence, abuse, and secret tapes that painted a darker picture of the glamorous world he built. Still, Diddy stood tall, brushing off every rumor with a smile and that bad boy for life attitude.
He did here is on a magnitude of unlike anybody else you could imagine. A week after those public searches were televised, he gave us his passport. His children gave us his passport. He then paid off the mortgage entirely on his Miami home, $18 million. It's instructive that he's going to have a bail package ready so that if he was arrested, he would have something ready so that he could get out the next day and show the judge he's taking this very seriously, which he is, which is why 12 days ago, Chris, when we thought there's an indictment that may be coming, he flew to New York the very next day. And that's an extraordinary move for a defendant who's been under investigation that he's been aware of for at least 6 months. He has done everything somebody under investigation can do. I can't think of anything else that he could have done. He's fighting, he's innocent, and he's gonna be able to show it.
What do you think about that counter argument? Because his team has said we're going to put together the proposed bail package, a $50 million bond, co-signed by him, his mom, and his sister. the mother of his oldest daughter and his 3 adult sons. It's going to be secured by the equity in his property in Miami, Florida. Home detention, his passport will be surrendered. The government said that's insufficient. They said, look at the charges, look at the weight of the evidence that I just mentioned. They said they have allegations that he and his associates were trying to tamper with witness testimony last year so that they wouldn't cooperate with the government. What do you take away about who has the stronger argument in terms of bail?
Well, I think his counsel has done the best they possibly can. I think bringing him there voluntarily is very smart, starts them out on the right foot. But I think the last thing that you just mentioned, the interfering with witnesses.
That's the allegation, yeah.
Yeah, if that's true, or I should say, if there's real indicia that happened, I think that might tip the scales in favor of not letting him out pending trial, because I think, and you know this, I think judges take an extraordinarily dim view of that, and that might be the factor that tips the scale against him.
But everything changed in 2024 when federal agents raided his mansions in New York and Los Angeles. The feds reportedly found more than just luxury. They found evidence that opened a case no one saw coming. Suddenly, the party stopped, the brand deals froze, and Diddy found himself in handcuffs. By May 2025, he was standing in court fighting for his freedom. The trial dragged on for weeks with shocking testimonies, leaked photos, and rumors flying all over social media. When the verdict finally came in July, it hit hard. Not guilty on the most serious charges, but guilty on 2 counts involving transporting people across state lines for adult activity. Since then, he's been locked up, waiting for sentencing while prosecutors push for more than 11 years in prison. His team begged for mercy, asking for time served instead. But with the walls closing in and the public losing sympathy, it's starting to look like Diddy's glory days are long gone. Diddy's lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, isn't sugarcoating anything. He says his client's life is in serious danger. Inside the Metropolitan Detention Center, Diddy's fame doesn't protect him. It paints a target on his back. Word on the inside is that inmates have been whispering about him, calling him out, and waiting for a chance to make a move. Some of them hate what his name stands for. Others want to prove something by taking a swing at a celebrity. Either way, the danger is real. Agnifilo told reporters that sending Diddy into general population could be a death sentence. He described the place as hell on earth, where guards barely have control and reputation means nothing.
People magazine says it's got a source on the inside that tells them that P. Diddy's on suicide watch tonight. Do your sources confer the same information? Are they saying it was possible?
Hey, real quickly, all that commissary stuff, he's not getting any of that because people in the SHU have an abbreviated list. So he's out of luck. No stake for him. Yeah, he is on suicide watch. This guy thought he would have went home. All of a sudden, he didn't get bond. Remember, the first night that he was there, he was like an overnight guest. When they killed his bond hearing, now they checked him into the system, and reality has hit him. And I understand that he has a shrink coming by his cell to see him several times a day. And now there's talk about putting him in, it's like a bubble. It's like a cell that has like a plexiglass wall in it where they have inmates watching you. That's actually their job, to keep an eye on the inmates that are on suicide watch.
For a man used to VIP treatment, designer suits, and luxury cars, being trapped in a cell surrounded by enemies is psychological torture. He's not sleeping, barely eating, and constantly looking over his shoulder. Every sound echoes like a threat. Every glance feels like a setup. Since his arrest, Diddy's team has been fighting nonstop to get him out on bail. They've tried 3 times already, each time throwing more money and promises at the judge. The last offer was insane. $50 million in cash, a $70 million mansion, and even family passports to prove he wouldn't run. But Judge Aaron didn't flinch. She said no amount of money could guarantee safety for the witnesses or the victims. That hit Diddy hard, but what came next hit even harder. Prosecutors revealed recordings of Diddy using secure prison phones to reach out to witnesses, telling them to fix things before the next hearing.
The vast majority of the floors are general population floors. But the special housing unit is a 24-hour lockdown facility. So this is for Mr. Combs' protection. His incredible worldwide celebrity combined with the allegations, the charges now, and indictment, of course, of acts of violence against women make him a very...
His lawyers tried to spin it, saying he was just trying to talk, but the damage was done. The court saw it as witness tampering, and any chance of bail went straight out the window. Now, inside that gray, echoing cell, Diddy's cracking under pressure. Sources from inside say he's not handling the stress well, pacing back and forth, snapping at guards, mumbling to himself. One insider even said, "He's not built for this. Every day he looks a little more broken." For someone who built an entire career off being in control, this loss of power is eating him alive. Outside those prison walls, the empire he spent decades building is collapsing piece by piece. Former friends are distancing themselves, companies are cutting ties, and the streets that once shouted his name are quiet now. The same fans who cheered him on are watching in disbelief as new allegations keep popping up. 3 of his closest allies, people who helped run his businesses and parties, are now facing lawsuits of their own. Some say they might even end up behind bars with him. Insiders whisper that Diddy barely trusts anyone anymore, not even his own legal team. His phone calls are monitored, his letters are filtered, and every move he makes is watched. There's no more bad boy for life bravado. It's just Sean Combs, inmate number in the system, trying to survive one day at a time. The stress has gotten so bad that those close to him claim he's having mental breakdowns, talking about not wanting to be here anymore. It's a dark twist for a man who once bragged about never backing down. The truth is, Diddy's living a nightmare he can't buy his way out of. The power, the fame, the connections, none of it matters in a place where money doesn't rule.
This isn't the only famous inmate to be housed there. We had Sam Bankman-Fried there, R. Kelly, Ghislaine Maxwell. They were all inmates there. Sean Combs is being kept away from the general inmate population. You say his fame makes him a target.
Yeah, sure. And not necessarily at the MDC only. I mean,
anywhere.
Yes, in my humble estimation, his life, his safety is in jeopardy in any correctional lockup right now. If it is true, as reported, that he is housed in the special housing unit, it's important to note that the special housing unit is a lockdown, 24-hour lockdown unit. The MDC Brooklyn is a high-rise. The vast majority of the floors are general population floors. But the special housing unit is a 24-hour lockdown facility. So this is for Mr. Combs' protection. His incredible worldwide celebrity combined with the allegations, the charges now, and indictment, of course, of acts of violence against women make him a very attractive target. So,
all right.
Obviously, they need to safeguard him.
This is a man accustomed to the very finest. He was arrested at the Park Hyatt Hotel in New York City, known for its luxury suites and exceptional food and wine, where one-bedroom suites start at $3,000 a night. He was probably staying in something larger. What is life like for him now at the MDC?
I would say 100% total culture shock. The MDC is, I've used the word austere a lot, but it is. It's austere, it's strict, it's impersonal, it's cold, and it is a very tough place.
Every day, the walls close in tighter, the silence grows heavier, and the hope fades a little more. The same man who once told the world, can't stop, won't stop, now looks like he already has. Things have gone from bad to worse, and now the scandals are spilling far beyond Diddy's jail cell. In a shocking courtroom moment, his own lawyers confirmed that the infamous freak-off tapes everyone's been whispering about for years are real. But they tried to twist it, claiming the footage proves Diddy's innocence instead of his guilt. They said those tapes only show wild adult parties, nothing criminal, nothing illegal. But that defense didn't calm anyone down. The public exploded online, saying if those parties were really just fun, why were so many people scared to talk about them? The court's still reviewing the evidence, but every new leak makes things look worse for the former mogul. What's even crazier is that this case just pulled in a major name, Jennifer Lopez. A man named Cardello Smith filed a lawsuit claiming Diddy assaulted him back in 1997 at a Detroit Holiday Inn. And he said J. Lo was there too, helping to cover it up. According to Smith, the whole thing was caught on camera, and he says the feds now have that tape.
According to a report from the Daily Mail, that's why Diddy had a breakdown. A person close to him apparently said, quote, spending the holidays behind bars was a nightmare for him. If we're to believe all this, Diddy had a meltdown in his cell and begged the guards to take him to the hospital for observation, but they refused. This same friend or person told the Daily Mail, quote, he eventually managed to calm himself down with the meditation technique he's been using while he's been behind bars. It took him a few hours of deep breathing and focusing to get out of the bad space he was in, but he finally managed it. This isn't the first time Diddy's mental health has come into question while he's been at MDC. When he first arrived, he was on suicide watch, which the U.S. Department of Justice National Institute of Corrections describes as supervisory precautions taken for suicidal inmates that require frequent observation. Diddy's suicide watch was only temporary, though. He was housed in a special protective unit of the jail after that for the first few weeks of his stay. But Diddy right now is in Gen Pop, meaning general population, the place where majority of the inmates stay. And that's where he apparently had this meltdown over the holidays, at least according to one source.
He's suffering the consequences, and I don't feel bad for him at all. Because people was trying to talk to him. People was trying to tell him. You couldn't pull him by the coat and let him know anything. You understand? They messed up the game, brother. When he put that shit out with them, money, power, respect, it ain't never been like that. It ain't never been like that. You got your respect in the street that gave you your power, that brought you your money. Totally different thing. He let that money, power, and respect go to his head, but he had it ass backwards. So do I care what happened? Nah. He got enough money to buy his way out of this. So we think.
So when you look at that video of him pacing around and he's looking worried, and you knowing him, do you think it's possible that he might commit suicide?
When you're a narcissist, there's always a possibility because you're suffering. But I don't think that he can see himself in a cage. I don't think he can see himself behind those bars in those type of situations. It's too many real dudes that dislike him. But then again, there's a lot of real dudes that need help. And him being behind bars, he could probably help them.
There's really no deal that the U.S. Attorney's Office can offer, and it's certainly not one that Diddy will accept. It would involve decades in federal prison. We're talking about mandatory minimum sentences of 10 years for both the drug charges and the sex trafficking. So we know that Diddy has fought charges before. There were state charges, there were gun-related, the nightclub shooting with J-Lo, but he's going to dig in his heels, and this case is going to trial. So if you're prosecutors, you really want to make sure that your evidence is bulletproof.
People who worked the raids on Diddy's mansion said what they found was deeply disturbing. One of the officers described it perfectly. Baby oil and tapes were just the start. That quote alone shook the internet. Rumors say what the agents actually uncovered was way more serious than what's been reported. So bad that the judge refused bail no matter how much money Diddy offered. Inside sources claim there's enough evidence to keep him behind bars for years, maybe even decades, depending on how sentencing goes. Federal officials aren't saying much publicly, but leaks from court insiders paint a chilling picture of what's still to come. Every week, more witnesses step forward, more victims tell their stories, and more cracks form in Diddy's defense. Meanwhile, Diddy's mental state is spiraling further down. He's reportedly stopped talking to some of his own family members, convinced that people are leaking information from the inside. The once confident mogul who walked red carpets and diamond chains is now sitting in silence, staring at concrete walls and replaying every bad move that led him here. Even his lawyer said recently that Diddy's breaking point might be close. He's not eating much, barely sleeping, and constantly paranoid about being attacked or set up in prison. For someone who built his entire identity around power, control, and image, that loss of dominance is destroying him from the inside out. Outside the prison gates, the world that once worshipped him is slowly moving on. His companies are crumbling, brand partnerships gone, friends distancing themselves one by one. People who used to call him Brother Love now pretend they never knew him. The industry he helped shape has turned cold, and the same fans who danced to his hits are now dissecting every detail of his downfall. Some call it karma, others say it's a setup, but everyone agrees this is one of the darkest chapters in hip-hop history. The flashy success story has turned into a cautionary tale about ego, power, and secrets coming to light. Now all eyes are on October 3rd, 2025, Diddy's official sentencing date. Prosecutors are pushing for more than 11 years behind bars, and his lawyers are fighting for a miracle that doesn't seem likely. The walls are closing in tighter every day, and there's no telling how much more he can take. From the Harlem streets to global superstardom, from billionaire boss to broken inmate, it's the kind of fall that feels almost unreal, but it's happening right in front of the world, one headline at a time. Whether he walks free again or not, one thing's certain. The Diddy the world once knew is gone for good,